The biggest mistake I made in my business was not hiring a professional to help me with my money. Not just my taxes, but the actual plan I had for my business. I was completely lost on how to handle taxes, what to do with profit, and how to maintain my income. I had to find a better way. That's when I found Core Financial. Core Financial is a team of tax professionals that actually care about building real relationships with their clients. They run my books, keep me up to date with my finances, and make sure I'm taking full advantage of all of my tax benefits. Are you struggling with your finances? Look no further. Core Financial is a brand that is nationwide that can help you with your business. Both Nick and I are huge fans of Core, and they can help you too. Check out howtofilmweddings.com/core to schedule a consultation today. Core Financial, real relationships, no surprises. It seems like there are new cameras and equipment coming out all the time. It gets incredibly confusing and the FOMO is real. Nick and I have been preaching for years that the best way to try out new gear is to rent before you buy. And there is only one place we recommend when it comes to renting, and that is our friends over at Lens Rentals. Lens Rentals is the premier source for renting not only camera equipment, but lenses, drones, projectors, and more. Have a big project coming up and you need to really wow your couple? Wanting to test out the newest camera before you drop thousands on it? You need Lens Rentals. My favorite thing is that if I love something I rent, I can keep it. They apply a portion of the rental fee to the purchase price, and with a few simple clicks, that gear is mine. Check out the latest promo codes and promotions at howtofilmweddings.com/Lens Rentals. Lens Rentals, the only place we recommend renting.
Bachelorette.
How tall are you now? 5'11"?
Okay, good.
Like
How-
5'10",
I'm like,
5'11"?
if you look at my driver's license says 5'8",
Okay.
but
In
I
your
don't think
Rachel
pants.
thinks I'm 5'9".
I think
so
you're
that's what I go
5'9".
with. That's
Yeah,
what I go with.
But I've got at least an inch and a half on him.
Yeah,
When
that
did
took him a
you?
little while to get over.
When did? Yeah,
beginning.
yeah.
because she's like an inch taller than me.
Like an inch,
It-
inch and a half.
Did you have to wear heels on the wedding day?
yeah, I was very self-conscious.
Did you have to wear flats?
Oh, I definitely wore flats, but I always wear flats,
Yeah.
so it wasn't a compromise.
It was
When did you guys meet?
2010.
Okay. Love at first sight.
No, but we did hit it off. We were at a friend had made a short film in college, and he was having a movie and smoothie party.
Very Christian.
Very, very Christian party.
Very tame, yeah.
Yeah, and
Was
I
it
was
19 or 20?
I was there with another
Oh,
woman.
no, I was pretty young. I was probably 19.
I attended with another woman.
Okay, let's stop. Let's stop there. You attended with another woman.
Yes,
Yes.
I
As
was
like
not
a
dating at the
friend,
time.
like
just
this was
as a friend.
Okay.
But we had
I think she
Pause.
was
Yes,
interested. I
you?
think she was
we
interested.
had a romantic background.
Yes, she was
Okay.
interested.
But we attended this party, and I met Rachel, and we really hit it off, and we were talking for a decent amount of time.
With the girl there.
Yeah, she was talking to somebody else. It
Okay.
was fine.
Yeah.
I don't know where she went.
I had heard about Matt, but it was just like, oh, you're a friend of a friend. I didn't know anything else about him.
Yeah.
I thought he was very interesting. That's the word I described him. Like, you're just very interesting to talk to.
Interesting.
That goes a long way.
And then whenever I left the party, I couldn't find Rachel, and so I had left this apartment, and she was outside on a balcony, and it was a very Romeo and Juliet moment where
Was.
I
Keep telling me
looked
more.
up and I was like, "Bye, Rachel." Very
Yeah,
romantic.
because we had this short
and
conversation.
she went,
but then
"Oh, bye."
it was a little extra.
It was hot.
Yeah.
That's what did it.
After Romeo and Juliet, what's next?
We had a baby.
Just right there.
Wow.
Um,
That was quick.
no. How long were we friends for? You.
Year and a half.
Yeah, we were both in a student. I was in a student organization at A&M that he joined after that summer. So it was like a whole summer passed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So a couple months, and then we came back to school. And oh, that's so nice. No,
Here.
Ideally, they would all match.
there we go.
Oh,
We all need our bachelorette bash.
I want all this in the pod. I don't want this to stop. I just like this.
Okay,
Keep
that's
going.
good.
This is fine.
Yeah, you joined the organization.
Blake in the background.
But we were friends for a year and a half, and it was up to the point that people were like, "You guys are dating, right? Like, why aren't you dating?" And it was like 5 or 6 people had told me that, and I was like, "Oh."
I think it was obvious to everybody else that something in our relationship was easy, and before we realized that it was easy, we were just friends, and we hung out in groups quite a bit. And I, at this point, was pretty like, I thought you were interesting, but I probably liked talking to you and started to have a slight crush on you, but I was like 19 and I'd never had a boyfriend before. I've never kissed anyone before. I was super guarded. And
What was his facial hair like?
no hair.
None.
Hairless.
Baby face.
Okay.
Looked 12.
Justin
Very
Bieber.
cute. He has a really nice jaw and you would never
He
know.
does. I saw YouTube
It's so
early.
nice. I miss it. Look at
But,
that. Look at
yeah.
that.
I really liked your emo haircut.
The Justin Bieber?
I went as Justin Bieber for one Halloween.
Yeah, he had the
was a
Justin
thing.
Bieber swoop down. It was a little. It wasn't good.
Blake's got to move so he's not in the background. Blake's got to move these Pelican cases too. It's ruining everything. Look at that.
Yeah, I was definitely hard on him at the beginning. of the
I
relationship.
like this. And this is perfect for me. I'm digging deeper. Can I dig deeper?
Dig as deep as you want. Dylan.
So
I want you to
no
dig.
facial hair, never been kissed.
Yeah,
You cross the bridge into like, okay, we're together now. Or-
it was basically like me calling him out and saying why you trying to hang out with me without making your intentions known. It hit that point where I was like, you need to define your
DTR.
intentions. Yeah, it was very much a DTR, and I was not okay with it, and I was ready for the relationship to be over because he wasn't being a man about it, and
Valid.
we had a.
So you wanted to date him, but he.
It wasn't even that I wanted to date him because I don't even think I just wanted to know what he wanted. Like I thought he was
Her brain
interesting.
hadn't even gone that way.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought he was interesting, but he was giving me weird messages. And
Like
I
any
just
good man
wanted to
does.
know where we were. And so I think we went to Chipotle. No?
We went to.
We're skipping it. We're skipping forward a little bit, but
I had been going through a lot of just like in my personal life, in my spiritual life, with my family, with God, everything. And there came a very clear point where God was very clearly like, you're an idiot for not dating this girl. And I was like, oh, okay. And I realized I was dumb. And so I had reached a point where I was like, all right, I'm like, I know that if I date this girl, I'm probably going to end up marrying her. Let's date. But then she was at this point where she's like, I don't know what you want. I don't ever want to speak to you again because I don't want to go this way unless you are clear about it. So we went
was a
to
little hardcore.
Blue Baker in College Station, which is a pizza sandwich restaurant,
deli.
which neither of us like. I don't know why we went there, but we sat down over pizza, and we were just talking. And I was like very clearly like, I've prayed and thought about this a lot. I really like you. I would like to date you. And she reacted by saying, what? And then she put her head down on the table for 5 minutes
I
and
couldn't
didn't
look
say
at him.
anything.
Yeah.
And I'm just sitting there
How are
eating
we,
my pizza
how are we
like,
together?
well, hope this works out. And then she looks up and says, I need to think and pray about this for a few days. Bye. And then she got up and left.
He had such a nice speech. Like he had prepared and he had told me like what he had prayed about and the counsel that he received and the people in his life that he had talked to about me. And it was like a beautiful, beautiful speech. And I just was not expecting it. And
She thought we were going to just be like, I was going to be like, I'm
this
sorry
is
about
weird.
that. Okay,
Why
we
are we
won't be friends
talking?
anymore. Bye.
yeah. So I was just overwhelmed. And I put my head on the table and I was like, I don't know. I need to pray about this. I hadn't thought about this. And I walked off and said, I don't want to see you for a couple of days. Don't come to the meeting that we were supposed to have tomorrow with our group because I don't want to see you.
Okay.
And that next day I posted the most emo photo ever on my Instagram.
You did.
It's still there.
Really
It's
funny.
Just this black
It's like
and white
this
photo.
like
You're looking really stoic.
with the Bieber hair.
Yeah, we'll put that on the podcast right
Yeah.
here on the screen.
And
This is the photo we're talking about. Be sure to follow Matt.
Yeah.
Who is Matt for sure?
it didn't get
If you
better
don't.
after that.
Yeah.
So
And
yeah, please.
so the finally 2 days later, Friday, she says, I will meet with you at the park by my
You're making
house.
this real dramatic. I was
It
nice.
was.
It was probably horrible for
I
you.
go to the park. I meet her at her house. I pick her up. We go to the park. She pulls out a written list of
I
questions
sound horrible.
that she has composed, and she begins going down like, I need you to answer these questions. It's questions like, why me? What are you aware this dating me could lead to marriage? Are
Also,
you okay with that?
You were graduating from from school that month, and I was like, are you staying? Like, I'm not going to start a relationship with you if you're going to move away. Your mom had this big health scare and was like, is she going to live? She's fine now. But it was just like a lot of emotional things. Like, is that just a reaction? Is this just a reaction to that?
You
like,
just need a mommy.
We've known each other for a year and a half. Like Like, why is it now? Like, it was just like, I had questions. I had questions.
Yes.
That's really mature.
It was very mature. So I answered all of them to the best of my knowledge, and there came a point where she says, "All right, I will date you." And
That's
then
literally.
we skipped the whole like we're just dating. It was immediately, I suppose we are now boyfriend and girlfriend.
Yeah, we skipped that step.
Okay,
I think
great.
we were so serious.
So was there, like, in this whole time where you had never like thought of that? Was there any like hand holding or like flirty kind of stuff? Or you guys? I mean, like, I know other people thought were like, oh, you guys are you guys together or whatever? But like, was there anything that you like crossed a line like?
We hung out.
Well, obviously not since you were like, I've never even thought of this.
We were good friends, and we would always hang out and talk.
Okay.
And there was a point where we'd gone on a mission trip to Florida, and she was having a very emotional night. And I remember that I held her hand while we were like walking somewhere because she was like visibly distraught. And it was like 30 seconds. But I remember like getting in this van afterwards to go ride in the church group with all these other kids. And this girl's like, "You were holding her hand. Oh my goodness. What's going on?" I'm like, "No, we're just like friends. She's just going through a lot of stuff. It'd be okay." And she's like, "No." And
I think, yeah, that is complicated.
as all relationships are.
But then we started dating, and then that was it.
How long from there until, hey, let's get hitched?
She was ready a lot sooner than I was. And there was a lot of her like, because I was filming like engagements and she would come along. And so it'd
There's
be
a
like,
lot of wedding
That's
talk.
a lot of, that's
like this other girl's happy and I'm not. And I'm
your
like,
fingernails
"Oh."
like always like perfect or any of
No.
that kind of stuff. Okay.
It was just a lot of like, I just remember we went and filmed like a good friend of our, a mutual friend of ours.
I don't
Like,
even
I
wear
filmed
a
the
ring.
proposal and then we went back and we went back home and she was, we were at my grandma's house and Rachel was just crying on the bed. Like, "Why not me?" And I
I got a little dramatic because we had conversations. Like, we knew we were going to get married. Like, once we got, I'd say 2 or 3 months in, like, there was no going back after that. Like, we had all the hard conversations. We talked about everything and we're like, are we okay with this? And we're like, yeah. And once you have all of that talked out, I know it was only 20, but whatever. It was like, well, okay, this is it. I still choose you. Okay. It just hadn't happened yet, and I was upset about it.
So we went to Colorado. She went with my entire family and my grandmother
And your
my
dog.
dog with me to Colorado to these cabins in the
We
middle
weren't
of
even
nowhere.
engaged.
Without like, and so it's literally my entire family all sleeping in like separate beds in this like massive cabin. And I think it was in my own like rollaway bed on the side, and you were like sleeping with my sister or something.
Yeah, I was
like
with
that.
your mom put you upstairs with her because
Yeah.
she didn't want you canoodling with me
She's
downstairs.
like, "You cannot even be in the
Respect,
same bedroom as this
So I
girl." And
was-
I'm like, "It's okay, we're not." And she's like, "No." So great.
And you were in your 20s, right? Like done with college at this point.
Yeah. But there was a point where Rachel cleaned a trout. She like gutted this entire trout, cut off its head for me, and I was like, "Man, what a woman! This is who." Now I know I want to marry her.
I'm not
This is the defining moment.
I'm not the outdoorsy type, so he said I had to, and so I did.
And there's this photo we have of her, and she's just like looking at the camera, like covered in fish blood. And I was like, "Love you." I joke that was the reason, the moment I knew, but it really was like that trip. That was very clear, like right after the trip, God's like, "Yeah, you need to propose now." And then also happened to be like 2 weeks after she'd had that breakdown where I like filmed my friend's proposal, and she's like, "Why not me?" And I was like, "Oh crap, I should probably do this." Okay. So ordered a ring off Etsy from London with no tracking, just like
It was
hope this
antique.
comes at some point, whatever. And then proposed like it was like 3 weeks after, and I had told her that I was filming a friend's proposal. And I asked if she wanted to come along because she always liked coming along. And she said, sure. I was like, great. You can help me carry some stuff.
Smart.
And I was like, yeah, it's for some reason like this. The bride's really weird. Like she likes Star Wars. So I got like a Star Wars blanket. I don't know. Like he wants me to help set up stuff for it. And she's like, oh, okay. So like she helped me like unload everything from the car. She helped me set up all of the
What a
equipment.
brilliant move.
She
It was a
helped me
pretty good
like
plan.
set up the tripods, carry everything. I had like the photographer out there. I had my friend, I was a photographer. I had my friend filming, and we're just setting up everything. And I'm like, this is literally, she's getting proposed. She doesn't even know. And she's like over there, like unloading stuff, you know. And then I was like, oh crap, I forgot my memory cards in the trunk of the car, which I'd like thrown the card case just in the back so she could see it, you know. I was like, can you get it? She's like, ran it. So she ran over and get it. And then she comes back and I'm just standing on the blanket and she freezes like 30 feet out. She's like, what are you doing? And I was like, what? This is for you. And like, we're all emotional, you know, just what? So
I just stopped walking.
What?
Yeah. And then I said,
Very
I
deer
think
in
I
the
said,
headlights.
you asked. I said, of course.
yeah. I mean, of course.
Yeah, I was very like, what are you thinking?
Okay. And then she sat down and put her hand in her hands for like
That's a theme.
her head in her hands for another
There's pictures of me like
2 minutes.
this. Or maybe like this. And Matt's like,
She said yes, it's okay. She looks sad, but she's not sad. She is happy.
and I'm just like,
And then the best part is that she'd been like, I just need to process it. Like we did some photos and she's like, I just need to process this. Can we like go somewhere? Like, yeah, let's just go back to your place. We'll just process this and talk. All of our families and extended friends were at her house and she had no clue. And I'm like, yeah, let's go back there and process. It'll be real quiet.
but I walked in and I was so like, my face was not happy that Matt's brother thought I had said no. And so he's at the party and he just leaves because he's like, she said no, I can't be here because I looked upset.
So my reaction is like, we're walking in the door and I see my brother like, and I see him turn and just start running out the back door of the house. And he like makes like to the, like out the door and he's looking back and I was like, she said yes. And he's like, oh, he came back like, oh, okay, it's all right. But like, he's like, dude, I thought she said no. I didn't want to be there. It was going to be awkward. I was just going to leave. He's like, good for you. Just get out of the situation. Awesome.
Leave the situation. All right. So she says yes. Transitioning a little. When did wedding, like, you guys get married, obviously. Did wedding filmmaking happen? Like, when did that start for you? Like, how did that... Have you guys always been together, team, or were you already shooting them?
I had been filming weddings since 2010, and we got married in 2013.
So even before I met him, he was already doing weddings.
Okay.
Yeah. And then she was a high school science teacher since 2013 to 2016.
Yeah. So I went to school to teach science, and the first 3 years of our marriage, I taught high school science. That's what I went to school to do. I enjoyed it. And Matt was just already doing and had been doing his filming, a little bit of weddings, a little bit of everything, kind of business. YouTube really wasn't a thing yet. Not really.
Very little money from YouTube back then.
Yeah.
It was nothing.
But eventually I think it took a toll on us because he was working during the weekend and traveling a lot, and I was only home during the weekends, and I was working a lot of times during the week, and our just schedule was bad.
Like I'd work from home, and so I thankfully found a co-working space to work out of, but for a while there were days where I'd work from home. So I'd be like cooped up, me and my extroverted self, just like waiting for her to get home so I have somebody to talk to.
You seem like you would do really, really well with no one to talk to and just like by yourself. Like, I think you would thrive. I think you would thrive in that kind of situation.
And she is at she's at a school with 180 freshman students
Every
that
day.
she's teaching just nonstop, just yelling lectures to. So she would come home, and the last thing she wants to do is speak. And all I want to do is speak. So she would come home and I would talk at her.
He'd word vomit at me. I would cook dinner and say nothing. And he would just get everything out that he had thought the whole day.
45 minutes to me just like, so then this and this happened and I was feeling about this and this was really great too. And she's like, that's so great, honey. That's good. Okay. I need to go grade papers and go to bed. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah. It just wasn't working. Our schedules were too different. And so it came a point where I was burnt out on teaching, and our marriage, it was fine, but it was just hard. And I decided, like, maybe I can do what you do. Like, you really are extremely passionate about what you do. I had some type of art background, like more in the like sculpting, painting, abstract art, like not really film or photography, hardly at all. But I understood art. And so I was like, maybe I'll try it. And there was a year, that last year of me teaching, I shot every wedding that he did. So I would work during the week and then shoot during the weekends. And I was the third shooter. And just, you usually would give me something to focus on. So like this wedding, like you didn't have equipment for me one wedding, and you made me shoot a whole wedding on a slider.
Yeah, it was great. I forgot a monopod for her, and so I was like, "Hey,
He
here's a
used 2
slider
shots.
and
Yeah, you did.
In the video.
tripod." And so we're like walking through this huge field, and she's carrying this huge slider and tripod, like going. I was like, "There you go, good job." But I used some of the shots.
You
it was
used
good.
2.
The best
I
thing
can
was
remember
is literally she was like, "Maybe I could help shoot with you. I'm gonna try." And I was like, "Great. Well, I'll be third shoot. It'll be great." And then my second shooter got sick. And that was literally like the first wedding she ever shot with me. I'm like, all right, you're up. Here we go. We got to do this thing. And
I
it
did
was
a
like the
bad
worst
job.
possible conditions. Like broken clouds that are changing every 10 seconds because they're moving really fast. So it's just nonstop different color temperatures and brightness. And
I didn't know how to work the camera.
I gave her I was like, here's a 7D, go for it. And I remember there was this moment where we're doing the first look and she's clearly exposed for the shadows. And like the sun came out and like that whole first look, it is the most baked, just completely
You can't even see anything.
overexposed, just glowing white skin of the groom as he turns around to see the bride. I put that shot in. I was like, this is it. Here we go. This is all I got. All right.
My failing moment. It's
Yeah.
not my fault. I didn't even know how to turn the camera on.
It was just, here we go. Trial by fire. Good luck. Okay. So she shot with me for like a year. She shot like 30 something weddings, 30, 40 weddings. And then I finally was like, she finally was ready to quit her job. So she quit the next year. And
It was a little hard to learn from you. Like there was definitely a dynamic of like, this is his business. He's crafted. He wants it done a certain way. There was some struggle there of working under your husband and is this going to work? And so we had a couple conversations where I was frustrated about things. And so we ended up having the second shooters train me most of the time. So second shooters were people that I knew already. And so a lot of the times during the wedding day, they were the ones that would correct me, not Matt. And so that helped a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know with Jen coming on with me, like some of those, dynamics, because you're like, okay, like I'm, at least starting out, like I'm the one in charge, if you think of it that way, but like you're my wife, so I can't like talk to, I'm not mean, but I think that I would, did you do this maybe? Like, because it's your wife, you would kind of swing like a little more harsh than maybe you should have. I found myself doing that. And so like it was a hard learning curve.
it was a lot of like her taking things personally, especially because on wedding days, like my personality normally is like, what's up? But then on wedding days, it's a lot more like, I got to get this done. We got to go. And so like the extra seriousness there comes across as like, we said earlier, like we don't really fight. The closer we come to fighting is me being like, go get a shot. And she's like, okay, I'm sorry. All right, I'll
You
go and do
didn't
it.
ever have, like, you get serious when you're filming a wedding more than any other time you get serious in your entire life. And so it's
Makes
just
sense.
a side to you that I'd never seen.
And my couples appreciate that seriousness, quality content that I'm capturing for them.
Heather has shot. She shot the very first wedding I ever filmed, and then she shot with me one more time, and then she helped me with a bridal show. And we bought a banner and a banner stand
is
that
so
said
funny.
like Redeemed Productions and had like roses, and it's like now in HD. This was like 2007.
That's big, yeah.
And we were at this casino ballroom thing, and it was like we almost decided to call it quits on everything because the banner wouldn't hang correctly. That's a joke. We didn't almost, but like it's like just hang it up, like just do it. Or like I remember her being like, "Well, why do you have to be so harsh with me? I'm just trying to help." And I'm like, "Babe, I love you, but we're in a hurry. This is important." And so like that dynamic. So that's smart that you guys had. The second shooters do that, and so. Sooner or later, you become the only. There's no other second shooters. When did that start?
It was
Over a year.
2015, 2016. So like around that year that she had started shooting, my second shooters were getting married themselves, and also they were transitioning to either one of them was a girl, Ashley. She was fantastic. Like I trained both my second shooters, like from them really knowing nothing to them knowing, like me teaching them a lot of stuff over years and years. And Ashley got married and she wanted to be a mom. And I was like, that's great. You can go by all means, go be a mom. This is awesome. And my other second shooter, Taylor, he was awesome. And he was moving into more commercial work. And so he was like, I'm getting a red camera. I'm going to shoot commercial. I'm like, good for you. Okay, go make bank doing that. Cause he didn't love weddings. And it was just kind of a natural transition point where like the people that I'd loved and raised and like helped train and like, really helped. I was like, they're moving on. Yeah, I know. And I'm so proud. I'm like, good job, And so, like, I'm still great friends with both of them, but it's just like their life paths are moving in different directions. And Rachel was like, hey, I'm here. And I'm like, well, you're never going to quit on me because we're married. This is good news.
So you're up. Yeah. So I took over and quit my job.
Yeah.
And it's been how many years?
5 years.
Yeah.
And it's been wonderful because she went in and I'm fully on the creative side. I don't do math. I don't do numbers. Like, me running the business was like the bare minimum. Like, hey, the business is running here. We're cruising along. Like, I had stuff figured out that like
he
worked.
wasn't charging taxes correctly. Like, he wasn't paying.
Off
Like, it was
the record.
No. In the
no,
government's favor.
in the government's favor.
Oh,
like
every-
they're not
good.
gonna be
It's good,
upset
Sam.
about it.
Yeah.
Everything
He
was
was doing math
in
wrong.
like all of my math was wrong, but in the favor of the client and the government. And she's like, you're mischarging these people. I'm like, does it help them? And she's like, oh yeah, it's all for them. I'm like, oh, thank God. Okay, good. Who cares? Whatever. I'm still making money. And she's like, you need to fix this. So like, she came in her infinite analytical wisdom and was like, do this instead. We're going to do all this instead. And I'm like, oh, thank God. This is so much better. Okay.
Yeah. So I took over the business and the emails, your horrible emails, and client relationship and all of the back end money.
And so you guys obviously a very good pair. You start like elevating your brand and stuff like that. You mentioned YouTube. When did you start building that alongside this? Like, what was that?
It was pretty close to whenever she came on. It was actually like 6 months before Rachel came on. I had been shooting I was in College Station shooting a time lapse. Had a gig where I was filming time lapses for the university. It was a lot of fun. But I was staying with a friend of mine, and he was like, man, like, you're really good at explaining things. And he was getting into video too. And he's like, you should make like some educational stuff. And like, I dabbled. I make one YouTube tutorial per year, but I was like, okay, fine. I'll make a go of it. And I was like, okay, I'll make reviews for wedding filmmakers. Sure. Philip Bloom had not been making reviews for like the past like year. So it was just like this gap in the market. And like Peter McKinnon wasn't around for another like 2 years. Like, this was a weird moment where Craig Adams was making wedding film school videos, but there was not like, now the entire video space on YouTube is so crowded with so many different people making like a zillion different camera things. Yeah, which is fine. But like at the time, it was so few people. And so I was like, well, I'll try this out. And then that video like took off and got like, I say took off. It was like 10,000 views, but it was like for me going from 20 video views, to a crazy amount. I was like, oh, I guess it's kind of working. So I just started making more and more educational videos there. And it was to the point where it'd be like, all right, we're going to edit a wedding video and then I'm going to edit a YouTube video back and forth. And so it kind of kept me fresh and going.
And so that was what year?
Post the first video November, or it might have been November, December 2015. So
that first video had 10 or so thousand views. You started being consistent-ish with it. When did it really, like, from the beginning, was it like, 10,000 views and now we just got a bunch of subscribers? Or like, when did it start to ramp up? It
was a weird, like, it's been a slow organic growth, but I remember there being a point where like my co-working space was like, Matt Johnson just hit 5,000 subscribers on YouTube. This is crazy. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess I did. Okay, cool. And so it was just a slow, consistent growth there. And thankfully, like, there wasn't a ton of competition in the space. So it was just like, oh, I'll just keep doing this, like as I go and just make the videos I wanted to make. And it still there was still like 3 or 4 years before I was like, oh, like this is kind of like actually starting to be like a viable business in a sense. It's not like replacing weddings, but it's like, oh, there's a nice supplement to it. And that was cool.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, it's Michael from Wedditor. We want to thank everyone for the incredible support we've received since sponsoring How to Film Weddings. Yes, we've had some growing pains, but we've had far more wins. And we're doing something that's never been done. We're a remote team of over 50 editors in 10 countries. I often joke that we're as much a logistics company as we are a creative company. Right now, demand is off the charts. And we don't just say yes to everyone and scramble to figure it out. That's why we're asking you to help us help more of you. In short, we're looking for more talented wedditors, part-time or full-time, work from where you want, when you want, as long as you hit deadlines and deliver quality. It's a chance to get paid while growing as an editor. Our project managers work with you, explaining why something feels right or doesn't, because there's always a reason. If you're interested, we'd love to hear from you. Go to wededitor.com/editor and fill out our form.
Finding the perfect song for your wedding film can be so frustrating. We spend countless hours searching for the perfect song. When it comes to licensing music, Nick and I both love MusicBed. Not only do they have the best music, but their website makes it so easy to find the perfect song and to find it fast. We've both been using the MusicBed's wedding subscription for years and cannot recommend it enough. Not only are they adding new music from incredible musicians like Chapters, The Light, The Heat, and Tony Anderson all the time, they've made it incredibly easy to search their library for mood, genre, instrumentation, and even key. So what are you waiting for? Head on over to howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed and use promo code HTFW for a free month of a MusicBed wedding subscription. howtofilmweddings.com/musicbed.
Take two, ready? And you got the clink. All right, so YouTube has started. You guys have fallen in love. You've started doing filmmaking together. He's trained you, taking you under the wing. You've made the business better.
I try.
You took over the hard stuff. Now you're starting YouTube-y things. When did you start to like realize, hey, YouTube could be a thing? Like YouTube might make us money. Or when did
I feel like it was.
I always knew that YouTube could make me money because I got into the partner program in 2007. And that's when I was making like really dumb vlogs and other videos that were really dumb. And I made some videos about my brother and sister raising baby rabbits. They got like 5 million views, a couple mil views. I had like 4 or 5 videos like that. Got 7,000 subscribers from it. I was like, man, this is great, killing it. Then I started uploading wedding videos and nobody wants to watch rabbit videos. So that was a total fail. But I definitely made like a few grand off of that, enough so that I was like able to buy some camera equipment and stuff. And I was like, that's cool. So I was always in the partner program, but it was like, you made $75 this month. They're like,
Yeah.
$25. Like, and you don't even, I wasn't even hitting like this threshold, like get paid every month from YouTube. It was just like, yeah, whatever. And so it's because I hadn't like niched down to like a specific thing with wedding filmmaking. And so that was a point where I knew I could start to make money. And then at the time, Craig Adams was doing very well with Wedding Film School, and he was very open about all of his finances. And he would make videos like, yeah, I'm doing well, blah, blah, blah. Here's what I'm making. And I remember like seeing that he was on track to make $100,000 per year just from his affiliate revenue with kit.com. And I was like, well, hold up. Wait, what?
Pardon me.
And so it was funny because he came into San Antonio. This was late 2016, so I've been making YouTube videos for like a year at that point. He came in and needed a BTS shooter. And I was like, dude, that's a 5-hour drive for me. I'll drive down to San Antonio. We can hang out. Like, let's drive by my parents' house. So I went down there, filmed BTS with him, and I remember that we went to go get Tex-Mex, of course, in the morning, which was delicious. And him being mind blown because our cup sizes are like this big in Texas. It's a big gulp everywhere. Texas. And I remember him being like, how you doing on affiliate revenue? And I was like, I don't know, I'm making like $100 a month. You know, it's just not really hitting. And he's like, that's it? He's like, no, you should be making like a couple grand, bro. What are you doing? And then he was like, tweak this, do this a little bit differently. Like, you know, like, how are your links going? Join Kit, just stuff I hadn't done. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I made that change, and immediately I was making like $1,000 a month. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. So it was just this sort of transition slowly of like, oh, I am figuring this out. And I'm still not making Craig money here. I'm like, man, that still is like a dream of making stuff like that, you know, but it's really cool. And it's just a weird thing of like, being an influencer, you make so much diverse income. It's like whenever we were applying to buy a house, they're like, yeah, can you just send us your W-2? And I'm like, I don't have that. And they're like, just send us a W-9, a couple W-9s. I'm like, I've got about 30. Or, you know, it's just like a crazy high amount of stuff. Yeah. They're like, never mind, we'll just look at your taxes. And I'm like, okay, great. Don't have to do any of that. But it's weird.
So you mentioned a couple things, and Nick, please interrupt if you'd like. I know you want to say things too. Sorry, buddy. I just get really like, I want to talk more. But On the growth side of things, like I just get so excited. Like
I would like to interrupt him now.
Go ahead.
No, I don't have anything to say. I just wanted to say that.
I think people look at people in the wedding, the how to film weddings world. They look at someone like Matt, or they look at people and it's like, wow, like you're just about to 300,000 subscribers. I looked earlier before we hit record. It's like 299,000. It's like, oh my goodness, when we recorded last time, you were 170,000 or whatever. But it's like I always try to ask is like, was there a moment where you're like, oh yeah, this is it. Here it is.
298. We're almost there.
298. So,
yeah.
Like, was there a moment, or what advice would you have to somebody? Not like I think it correlates between building a wedding video business, any kind of business. But like, was there a moment that you're like, we did it, or what advice would you have?
I would say that wedding filmmaking, just like any entrepreneurial endeavor, if you're working for a corporate video job or just like a regular 9 to 5, like there's your salary. You can negotiate a bit more if you want. You can ask for a raise if you want. That's it. Like that's what you're getting, unless you change jobs or unless you learn a new skill set or something like that. But wedding filmmaking, just like any other entrepreneurial job, like the sky is really the limit as far as how much money you can make. And I feel like, especially for a lot of wedding filmmakers, I do all these monthly wedding film review live streams, and one of the questions I ask is like, what did you charge for this wedding film? 99% of the people are like, well, it was like $1,000, it was like $2,000, and like I don't think they're looking for like worth. They're like, what is this wedding video good? And I'm like, this is a technically sound wedding film that has good audio and good visuals. Like, why are you not charging at least 3 to 4 for this? Like, it's just. And then they're like, yeah, I'm in a big city. They're like, I'm in Nashville. I'm like, Nashville's a wedding capital. What are you doing? Like, you got like, there's a zillion bachelorette parties there. You're doing fine. Like, you could be made. The limitation is their fear.
Right.
But does that answer the question?
Like, I don't know what the question was. I lose track of things. And
I
just
like
kinda
it.
ramble for a while.
Yeah, I thought it was really, so. Well, do you want to continue?
I would like you to answer the question a little
Well,
bit, Miss
you
Rachel.
asked
God.
like was there a point for
Yeah.
YouTube that was like can do this? And I don't think there really was. I think it was very gradual.
We're still asking.
And you made a decision early on, like, I'm going to consistently make videos. And that was the only thing you committed to. At first it was on and off. And then now it's, I'm making a video every week or trying to put out a certain number of videos every month.
Yeah.
But other than that, it wasn't like there was one video that hit big or one shout out that made the career. It was just like, I'm going to like do this and we'll see what happens. And then slowly the business has changed to all of 100% of our money coming from weddings to now we're pretty much at 100% of our money comes from YouTube. And we just do weddings because we want to, and it's like we enjoy it.
Yeah.
And that has been a slow, like 5-year kind of gradual change of like every year we talk about, well, like what's our goal for this year? Like, what are you going to focus on the YouTube channel? How many weddings do we want to take? And like we talk about it, and then every year it kind of has switched to where more of the focus is on the YouTube side.
And to be clear, at the same time, like we still love filming weddings, and we still greatly enjoy that, and that's brings a lot of creative joy and fulfillment to us. And so I never want to like stop filming weddings. But what has really empowered me, and this happened even before like YouTube was taking over, it was we were at a point where we were comfortable with the income that we were making, and we were able to take the weddings that we wanted to take and say no to many of the weddings that we did not want to take at all. And even yesterday, we were driving through Austin. We're like, oh, yeah, there's that one restaurant over there we went to with that one couple that one time. And like, that was an interesting wedding, wasn't it? And it's like, now we might not have taken that wedding because we didn't need to. And at the time, I can think of that 100 weddings like that where it's like, I need the money, got to take this wedding. And then looking back, you're like, that's kind of a weird wedding. Like, that didn't really match my vibe or style. Like, should I have taken that? Like, did I need to take that? And we don't need to now, which is nice.
You just didn't want to.
Yeah. As you bring that up, and you were talking about, well, for me to grow this on YouTube, it's taken me. I mean, you've had it since 2007, but it's really like the last 6 years that you've been like pouring into it. And I know now it's easy for people to look, oh, I want to start a YouTube channel, and they look at you, and you're like, oh, you have 300,000 subscribers, and just get very down on it. But we say don't look at someone's highlight reel compared to your behind the scenes and that sort of stuff. So that's refreshing, just to hear that again. And we hear that over and over again about people like, yeah, I've been like putting in the work and like doing this for a long time. So I'm going to do a humble brag right now and say that our Wild Oak Films YouTube channel just hit 25,000 subscribers, which is like, thank you. But with that has come an influx of people wanting to advertise on my YouTube channel, like partnerships and stuff that have come along, which somehow I got on a mailing list at Nike. And so I'm getting stuff from Nike, which I would love to take because it was like, we will send you Air Maxes every month. But I'm just like, how...
I should make that work, actually.
I don't know how I can make that work, but I need to figure. But anyway, so my question that I have,
you lacing up to go to weddings, like I got to put on my J's to make sure I film this wedding.
Figure this out. So the question, as I bring that up, that I want to ask you is, what are some of the most ridiculous people that have reached out to you, or the most ridiculous products that people have reached out to you that they want you to sling on your channel?
I could probably look at our email and find 200 that I haven't even replied to.
There's a lot.
Talk about a humble brag.
There's a ton
but
of
they're
brands.
usually horrible. It's like you get quite a few a day, but it's like, what was it?
I get
I'm trying to think of a weird one.
There was like a shower head company. Like, you want the shower head? I was like, I don't. Like,
I actually don't want
there was
that.
It's just
there was
random stuff.
company that made belts. Like, you want a belt? I'm like, well, kind of very late smart. No, I don't want a belt, but thank you. Okay.
Blinds for a house.
Yeah, window blinds.
Window blinds.
Yeah.
Literally anything you can.
That would be
think of.
awesome if on your channel you're doing a video and you're like, just so you know it's dark in here, by my friends over here at blinds.com.
Yeah, or whatever it is. Here you go. Like,
that would be incredible, like for you to, for your vibe on
because
that.
a lot of YouTubers do stuff like that. Where like, here's
Yeah.
my desk set up and here's my build thing. And so for me, I have to be like, does this apply to weddings? Does this apply to this? Because otherwise, it's like, what's it gonna matter?
Yeah.
And that's my whole thing that I keep coming back to is I would love to take this stuff, but I don't do gear review. Like on my channel, I don't do. It's just wedding videos, So it's very.
I gotta look here and see.
What?
Well, I'm looking at the sponsored. She like Rachel.
I
made those
tagged
things
them
like
like
sponsorships.
and I just don't want to reply to them. So I just
HP
don't.
wants me to promote ink cartridges.
There you go, HP. There's your shout
That's-
out.
Can I print wedding films? Yeah. No.
Well,
Yeah,
at
you can
least
print the
it's
DVD labels that you stamp on.
It
I don't know if you
kind of
remember those.
related and more than most. I don't understand
The best
it.
part is there's some companies, like there's a standing desk company. They've emailed me probably 15 times now. And for the first like 5 times, I'm like, heck yeah, I want a standing desk. Send it to me. That sounds great. I'll tell you guys a shout out. We can do a sponsor spot. No reply. And I'm like, they just keep sending me the same email. I'm like,
I've replied to
do
them 3
want
times, like send it to me, and they yeah.
a scooter company.
Now we're talking.
Yeah, scooter would be fun.
Matt's bad at this. He's like, I don't want to do any of this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's 4 from that standing desk company right here.
Wow.
It's the life of a Johnson.
An
Matt
influencer,
Johnson.
YouTuber.
A YouTuber. So you did say something, and I want to swing it back over to like the niche side of things. It didn't match your brand. It didn't match like you. What I've seen with people that have become really successful in our world, especially, and back to wedding films, is you think about Bottle Brush Films, or you think about A Little Long Distance, or White and Reverie, or Wild Oak Films, and it's like they have a brand that they know who they are. And that's what you've done on your YouTube channel. And you also said that this has now allowed you to say no to things. And I'm a people pleaser, especially when I started getting going. It's like, you'll pay me money. I'll do anything you want. I'll film your wedding wherever. I'll make a couple $1,000. Like, I'll film every one of them. I'll sleep later. And that was such a disservice to the couples that I really wanted to work with. And it's similar with How to Film Weddings, as it's slowly taken over more of our income than our wedding film businesses. It's like, whoa, by doing this thing we're passionate about, this niche over here, I'm doing 15 weddings this year. And the year I met Nick, I did 39 weddings. And next year I have 6. And I'm like, I'm going to go ahead and raise my prices. And the 6 that I'm working with, I'm doing so much more with. I'm having so much more fun. And that has helped me. I was at the edge of burnout so many times. Whenever you don't have money in your bank account, you have 10 weddings to edit. You need to go sell more weddings, but you need to go edit these. And it was just like, how can I get out of this? And I remember with us, it was like I saw that I'd been doing this for 12 years at that point. It's like people kept asking me, how are you charging what you're charging? How, after you learn all these things. And so we started really rolling that out, and it started growing. And now it's like, when did that happen? Like, we get the same kind of questions. Like, when did you guys feel like you made? And it's like, we just pushed the boulder one day at a time till it started building momentum. And now I would love to hear kind of about the momentum that's in your business. Like, what types of things do you feel like the snowball is just like now turning in your business?
I'm gonna blow my nose right here.
I love it. This portion of the episode is sponsored by Kleenex.
Tissue.
Yeah.
She got choked up. That's really what happened. She started thinking about the love story.
No, only Josh Helton will make me cry.
Oh my gosh. Want to talk about that for a second? Momentum. Like, every month now, how many new people are you adding? Just like,
I don't know.
There's definitely a sort of routine that we feel like we're into now. It's like whenever you're shooting weddings initially, you're like, you got to remember a zillion things. Then after you've shot 50 weddings, you're like, oh, this again, I got to set my light, got to set up the audio, and it's going to be the same thing. I remember it being like way more intimidating. Like, I got to set up all this stuff, because back in the day when I would do YouTube videos, I'd have to literally like set up all my lights every single time I made a video. Every single, like, here's the tripod set up, and so everything would be like subtly different. It always annoyed me. And now I'm like, everything's the same. As part of the room, it's just set up for video. It's all ready to go. And even like, I would say that applies to like the business as well, and everything that we're doing. It's like, we're doing more of what we want now, and we're more selective.
And I think we have a pretty like consistent routine. Like, we like the way our life is. We figured out what we want. Like, we have very like our daughter goes and sees her grandparents and stays with them for these 2 days, and we work on those 2 days, and Matt films on those days. And then like, I'm doing a lot of the wedding editing now, and so I've taken that on, and Matt's doing YouTube, and he puts out one video a week, and it's always on this day. And like, we have this very
you can systemize things, and it really helps out a lot, and that just sort of makes it smoother. And then also, like, outsourcing has been huge. Having people help edit has been huge. Getting to the point of knowing what you need to do and what you don't need to do, which I feel like you guys are really good at too, where you're like, oh, do I really like have to do this, or can I outsource this, or can I have somebody else do this, or can I have somebody help run the books, etc. Like, all these things that take up so much time, where at the beginning you're like, I have to do it because I can't afford it, and like, there's always that I know what's best, and then you realize after a while, I don't know what's best. I need to have somebody else.
I think that was a big thing for you, is it took you a long time to abandon control, because you wanted to control everything. Like, you weren't outsourcing the BTSs or even the organizing the files or anything. Like, you felt like you needed to hold it really tight. And so once you felt comfortable enough to giving me things and giving an editor things, that freed you up a lot. And I feel like that was a big turning point on like how much content you could create and how big you were able to be.
All right, so we are in Austin together. We didn't mention this. We didn't do an intro or anything.
No.
We're at Vision Quest.
Vision Quest.
You just spoke, and then we came to this Airbnb, so it's a little echoey. Sorry, we don't really care, but and we're about to go get on a boat.
We are gonna get on a boat.
And it's going.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I did. I just actually want you to keep singing the song. I'm on a boat.
That's it. Keep going. Okay, yeah. Anyways.
Yeah. I just wanted to like give you like, if does anyone not know who is Matt?
I don't know.
We add a lot of new people every month to our group, so there may be someone out there that doesn't know you, but I'm gonna guess it's not accurate. We can offer really nothing to him.
I remember one of the greatest days in How to Film Wedding history was whenever Matt gave us a shout out on one of your live things, and we grew our Facebook group by like. It was like 500 people in a day or something like that.
Here's the thing, and thank you for that, because it's been really cool. I remember Matt, like I followed along Matt somewhere along the line, and I think with a lot of people, like with us, we came onto the scene and it was like, okay, cool, these guys are going to do something too. Let's just wait it out and kind of see. And then it was like we were consistent. We didn't know everything. My lighting was bad. My audio was bad. I didn't know what I was doing.
Your camera angle, your first camera
Everything
angle
was
when
so
we did
bad.
video was awesome.
It was so bad. Kayla makes fun of me.
I'll never forget when we had Kaylin and Christy on he was like talking. He was like, Nick, I really like your camera angle. And John goes, what about me? And
No,
he
I
just-
didn't say what about me. I said thanks, Kaylin.
And he just laughed because he
But-
was like,
Yeah,
Whoops.
but we were consistent.
Yes.
We've gotten better. I've made myself vulnerable. It's like I need to learn how to do this studio lighting. I've never had to do this before. I'm self-taught with this stuff. But that's not the point. The point was like we were consistent. And then all of a sudden it was like, whoa, Matt Johnson liked one of our videos. That's crazy. And then it was like Matt commented on a video like no link because I had mentioned there was a link in a video or something.
Probably did. I
And he was like,
probably
no link. And I was like, dude, Nick, Matt Johnson is watching our videos. Like, this
And
is
he's
crazy.
upset.
The
he's
Matt
upset.
Johnson.
And,
He's upset.
and I was like, oh my goodness. And then one day, like, all of a sudden, our Facebook group was bzz, 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 like people joining. I was like, what is happening today? Why are so many people?
because we didn't do anything.
Yeah, we were just
Like,
being consistent. But then all of a sudden, it was like, oh, I watched Matt's newest video and he shouts us out for like 2 seconds. But that is why we are successful. We owe it all to you. And just so you guys know that you're watching, any money that comes in, Matt just
Yeah.
gets a sliver.
They just send it to me. This is it. Thanks, guys. Awesome. Love it.
No, but if somebody hasn't jumped on your YouTube world, where all that stuff, where's the best place for them to find you guys?
Everything is Who Is Matt, except for Twitter,
And who
because
uses
there's
that?
another guy named Who Is Matt, and he posts really weird stuff, and it's kind of inappropriate. And
Don't follow.
I
Who Is
asked
Matt
him
on
once, I'm like, hey, can I buy that from you? And he's like, no, dog, I like it. And I was like, okay, cool, whatever. And also, I was too slow on TikTok, so I'm sure there's some Gen Z kid that's just living it up as Who Is Matt. Such a bummer, I know.
So-
But otherwise, Who Is Matt everywhere.
Who Is Matt? There's at howtofilmweddings.com/Who Is Matt. There's anywhere you can go besides Twitter and TikTok.
He's even on my phone as Matt, who is Matt Johnson. I'm married to him.
And
Br-
can you do you
Brand is
have
deep.
like is there a place people can find you?
I like being behind the
I
scenes.
thought you did.
I don't like I'm fine talking, but I don't want to advertise it.
She's always had she's always told me, even before we were dating, like way back 2010, she was always like, silent support. She would
Yeah.
like message me.
That's my thing.
She's like, liked video, silent support. And then she would like just,
Yeah.
it's really nice.
But if you want to get in contact with me, there's a good chance that whenever you talk to him, you're not actually talking to him, you're talking to me. So his emails, his social media, a lot of the times that's me. I just manage the back end of it. So
Chef had to make her sound more like me because she's very like cold and informal and clinical, or very formal and clinical. And so I had to be like, can you like throw a smiley face in there, like the end of that
No.
sentence or something like that?
Pure
Sounds
business.
familiar.
I feel
Sounds
like
familiar.
someone has had a conversation like that with me.
His Rachel.
yeah.
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 You can't just say yes in an email. That's mean. You can't just say no.
Yes, you can.
Yes,
You guys
smiley
should
face.
email each
Cool.
other.
Yeah. This
Thanks
is
so
great.
much. And just like,
Bye.
That's
it.
fine. That's fine.
Like, and I'll see emails that she's sent as me, and I'm like, oh, this person's got to think.
well,
I'm a
you're the
jerk,
one that
and they
asked
weren't
me to be
nearly
you,
smiling
so it's
enough.
your fault if it turns out wrong.
I mean, at least they're getting replied to, because
He'll like leave it for like 3 years.
there's one
in
thing
the
everybody's
email.
gonna learn. Like, you're gonna learn what you like to do. You're gonna learn what you hate to do, and you
Stick
do
with
what
that.
you like, and you outsource everything else.
Marry someone that
Otherwise,
fills in the hole.
it's not gonna work.
Hire them.
Love it.
Yeah.
Plane landing?
Thanks for tuning in to our podcast this week with Matt and Rachel Johnson. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. Go support Matt on his YouTube channel if you haven't yet. Anything else that we need to say?
No, that's
Okay.
neat.
Until next time. I think I said
Cheers.
that wrong. Until next time, we'll see you.
Cheers in our bachelorette bash.
Oh, you talked about it.
It's the very end. It's the very end.
You blew
Let's go
it.
get on a boat.
Oh.
Are you looking for a better way to deliver your wedding films to your couples? Look no further. Our friends over at WedFlow provide the most flexible video delivery solution on the market. WedFlow is pay per project with no large upfront cost or commitment, and you can cancel anytime. Not only that, WedFlow offers a premium viewing experience for your couples, accessible on mobile, tablet, desktop, as well as their very own suite of TV apps. Each project comes with 10 years hosting and an experience for your clients that will blow them away. Stop delivering your films the old-fashioned way and give your couples something to rave about. Head on over to howtofilmweddings.com/wedflow to check out WedFlow today.